I used to explain everything, where I was going, who I was seeing, why I needed space. I'm done explaining myself to anyone about anything. The explainer started so early, I forgot it wasn't required. I forgot the justification wasn't actually desired by anyone except the ones who use my explanations as the map to my interior and the navigation of the ways to make me feel the need to over-clarify the simplest of decisions with the elaborate alibi of a woman who had learned that her autonomy was suspect. Done explaining myself and I collect. You want the woman who arrives with the full itinerary. You want the one who checks in at the designated ordinary interval and over-communicates her every movement. But done explaining is the revolutionary. Done explaining myself to every room and every man. Done performing the permission and the detail plan of where I am and why I'm there and how I can. Done explaining myself. I stopped that scam. I went dark on a Friday in the spring of the decision. Turned off the need to broadcast with the precision of the woman who had been performing her transparency for an audience. They used it as the capacity to track and to predict and to contain the moving of a woman who just needed to be choosing without the commentary and the checking in the why. Done explaining myself, goodbye. You want the silence to be something you can interrogate for meaning. You want the not explaining to be the wall and the demeaning of the relationship. But the silence is the cleaning out of every room. I stopped the explaining and the cleaning. Done explaining myself to every room and every man. Done performing the permission and the detailed plan of where I am and why I'm there and how I can. Done explaining myself. Stop that scam. Explaining is the tax that women pay for the existing in the spaces that require them to be constantly insisting on their right to be there with the full and the enlisting of the justification. I am done enlisting in the army of the explained and the accounted for. I move through every room and I move through every door with the full authority of someone who requires nothing. Done explaining myself. I am the only something needed. So I took the explanation off the daily and the roster of the things I owe to anyone, the imposter of the debt was in the explaining and the owing of the narrative to anyone, the showing of my reasoning and my itinerary and my purpose to the satisfaction of the surface of the room. I took it off and kept the underneath. Done explaining myself. Finally I breathe. Done explaining myself. Not one more word, not one more reason, not one more why. Done explaining myself. I move, I go, I exist. No explanation.